Hi everyone, welcome to another video brought to you by Math Icon Institute. In this video, we'll be discussing how to convert fractions to decimals. So we have the topic converting fractions to decimals. Before we proceed, let's try to define these terms. What is a fraction and what is a decimal? A fraction is a number in the form a over b. That's a fraction, a over b. Where a and b are integers, it is either positive or negative whole numbers. That's a fraction, right? Where a is the numerator, b is the denominator. So the number at the top is the numerator, the one at the bottom is the denominator. That's a fraction. You can have 2 over 3, 5 over 6, 7 over 10, and the likes. And you might even have a mixed number. Well, a mixed number is a combination of a fraction and a whole number. For example, 2 whole number, 1 over 3. It's called a mixed number. That's because 2 there is a whole number, while 3 there is a fraction. So it is called a mixed number. While a decimal is a number in the form, for example, you have 2.133. This is called the decimal point. The decimal point. So the number for decimal points, these two, is the whole number part or the integer part. So that number is called the integer part. Why the ones after the decimal point? They are the fractional part. So we have two parts, put decimal point, per decimal point. Put decimal point is the whole number part or the integer part. After a decimal point is the fractional part. So that's the decimal. So let's now see how to convert fractions to decimals. So there are three cases. Three cases. Case one is when the denominator is the positive power of 10. That is the fraction you want to convert to a decimal. Its denominator is a positive power of 10. What do you mean by that? There are numbers like 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000. Those are positive powers of what? Of 10. This is the easiest case. It is very easy to divide a number by a positive power of 10. So we're taking this first. So what do we do? And we've learned this in our previous videos, where we're dividing whole numbers by what? By positive power of 10. We learned how to do this. So we will just go through this quickly. So this is the whole number 7, right? I said the whole number has a decimal point at the end here. So we said if we want to divide, what do? We move decimal points to the left if you are dividing. By multiplying, move to the right. So in this case, we are dividing, move decimal points to the left. How many times? That depends on the number of zeros you have in that positive power of 10. For 10, how many zeros do you have? Just one zero. What do? Move to the left just once. This is decimal point, right? So that's 0.7. After moving decimal point, this is new place of decimal point. This is now here, not here again. So that's 0.7. So you can just include the zero here. 0.7. That's what. 99 over 100 is the same thing. 99 is a whole number, so decimal point is at the end here. 100 has two zeros. Move decimal point twice to the left. 1, 2. This is where decimal point is. So 0.99. So include the zero here. 0.99. That's it. For 12 divided by 1,000, 1,000 has three zeros. So move decimal point twice at the end here. Twice. 1, 2, 3. You can see you have an empty space here. What do you do to it? Fill it with zero. So you have zero. Anytime you have an empty space like that, fill it with zero. So you now have decimal point is now here. That is the new position of decimal point. So that's 0.012. Right? So you can also include the zero at the beginning here. As simple as that. If you want more examples, go to the video where we discuss how to divide whole numbers by positive powers of 10. You'll find more examples there. Second case, as I said, there are three cases. Second case is the denominator can be converted to a positive power of 10 by multiplying it by a whole number. This case is when you have a denominator that you can easily convert to a positive power of 10. For example, 5. So 5 times 2 easily will give 10. So if 5 is the example a denominator, you can easily convert it to 10. So in the case where we can convert the denominator to numbers like 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, let's do so. Because that's the easiest fraction you can have to convert to a decimal. It's very easy. As for other numbers that can't be put in that form, you have to, it's a long process. This is very easy. The first one you have here is 4 over 5. You can convert 5 to 10, right? So let's do that by say 5 times 2. But in a fraction, you don't just multiply the number below only by a number. For example, when I have 1 over 2, so I should say 2 times 3. I've actually altered the fraction. I've changed the fraction, and I must not change the question. So what do? I simply multiply the numerator also by that number, that same 3. In this way, I've actually not altered the number. Though it might seem like that, but no, I've actually changed it to an equivalent fraction. For example, now, let's see. 1 times 3 is 3, right? And 2 times 3 is 6. When you simplify 3 over 6 also, what do you get back? 1 over 2. So you get the original fraction back. Exactly. So that's why you have to multiply numerator and denominator by the same number, by that constant number. So 5 now, to convert it to 10, you say 5 times 2, right? So 5 times 2. Also, you now have 4 times 2. This way, the fraction remains unchanged. So 4 times 2 is 8, 5 times 2 is 10. So let's divide. So 8, decimal point is here, right? At the end here. Move to the left just once. 10 has 1 0. 1. This is where the decimal point is. That's 0.8, right? 0.8. Then you add 0. 0.8. As simple as that. Then 2 over 20. Also, you can convert 20 easily to a positive power of 10. That's because 20 times 5 is 100, right? So, so we have to multiply the numerator by that 5 also. So we have 19 times 5 over 20 times 5. So what do we do? This is 95 and this is 100. Great. So 95 has a decimal point at the end here. You said all whole numbers have a decimal point at the end here after the last number, right? So 100 has 2 zeros. Move decimal point to the left twice. 1, 2. Decimal point is now here. This is actually 0.95. It's no longer here. It's now here. 0.95. You can now include the 0. 0.95. Right? 7 over 125. You can actually convert 125 to a positive power of 10, which is 1,000. 125 times 8 is 1,000. So we can easily say 125 times 8. And then also 7 times 8. Remember, that's multiply the numerator by that same number. 8, 8. 7 times 8 is 56. 125 times 8 is 1,000. Let's divide. 56 is a whole number. Decimal point is here, right? Move to the left thrice. But 1,000 has 3 zeros. We have 1, 2, 3. There's an empty space here. What do? Fill it up with 0. So anytime you have an empty space like that, you put 0 there, right? But decimal point is now here. It's no longer at the end here. It's now here. That's 0.056, right? Include 0 here. So you have 0.056. We have more examples here. You have 39 over 2, right? You can convert 2 to a positive power of 10. So you can convert 2 to 10 by multiplying by what? By 5. So we can say 2 times 5. Remember to multiply 39 also by 5 times 5, right? So 2 times 5 times 5 is 10. Then 39 times 5, that's 195. So let's divide by 10. 10 has just 1 0. So there's a decimal point at the end here. What do? Shift it to the left just once. 1. So decimal point is now here. That's 19.5. And the last question for case 2 is 3 over 4, right? You can convert 4 to a positive power of 10, right? By multiplying by 25. That's because 4 times 25 is what? Is 100. So 3 times 25 over 4 times 25. Since we have to multiply the numerator also by that same number. 3 times 25 is 75. 4 times 25 is 100. Combine these two in decimal. 75 is a whole number. You have a decimal point at the end, right? So 100 has two zeros. Move that zero to the left twice. 1, 2. The decimal point is now here, right? So you have 0.75. So you can include a zero here, 0.75. Then we move to case 3. So the third case where is when it is not when you cannot convert easily from when you cannot convert the numerator easily to a multiple of to a positive power of 10. That's the third case.